If you've been living under a rock, we just got a tax incentive in the state of Texas. I care because I live here. I don't feel like moving. It is the cool thing about this. It's $1.5 billion over 10 years. So it used to be just every 2 years it would go from whatever to whatever. Now it's a commitment for 10 years. That's a game changer. It takes us from gigster to brick and mortar. So I wanted to hear from the people that are in the early stages of feeling the brew on what's going to be happening, what's coming down the pipeline with casting and talent. So I wanted to not only have talent here in the room with these wonderful people, but also invite the producers and directors so you can be the first ones to hear about what's coming down the pipeline. So if I could get our wonderful casting directors up here first, we'll put you guys in the hot seat.
Karmen, Leech, Cast Station. We do a lot of mainly commercials. A lot of fun commercials here. In film, I don't know how the incentives will impact commercials, and that's all I got.
Sally.
Hi, I'm Sally Allen. I'm with Brock Allen Casting, and thank you. We cast mainly film and television, and occasionally a commercial or a print job too. So that's us.
Zena.
I'm Zena Van Ackeran. Violet Crown Media is my company. Thank you for that. So I'm all unscripted, all real people, worlds, characters, talent development. My specialty really is development, finding those really interesting, fascinating characters that we can build shows around. So that is my secret sauce, I guess.
The tax incentive was passed this summer. It doesn't officially go into action until September. Are you guys seeing anything brewing with having just more requests for commercials, films, reality?
Yes, actually. Love is Blind is going to be in Austin. They are fully casting right now, and it's going to be here. And I also think, as now Austinites, I moved from LA about 4.5 years ago, it's my mission to let people know, like, it's happening. We're open for business. We got money to burn here. And so I, especially being able to find real people in real worlds, my focus is trying to find great talent here in Austin to develop shows around. So yes, that is, I think we will see a difference.
Sally, what are you seeing? Are you seeing any changes?
Yeah, I've been interviewing a lot more. The uptick happened almost immediately. I just felt like people were reaching out. We have this script. We're wanting to come to Austin, within the next 4 to 5 to 6 months. Would you take a look? And so I'm super excited because anytime people are actually reaching out instead of me hunting them down, that's always a good sign.
How about you, Karmen?
Like I said, the incentives have never seemed like a huge impact on commercials. I don't know what makes the commercial world tick. I wish I had that answer. I do not. It'll be interesting to see, what types of projects come to Texas. I know there's some. I have questions about that and, what gets approved and all that good stuff, but you guys might know more about that.
I have noticed, because I do produce commercials in Texas sometimes, and I have noticed that a lot more in the development stages are asking about the incentive. And I believe that it's going to draw some bigger budget ones here that can actually, get the incentive.
I just wanted to add on to, I have heard some people, this is just like total gossip, really, but...
Oh, tell us. This is getting juicy.
But I have heard a lot of people because, it's a little different, the rules and regulations of, the incentives and how many crew you use, how many actors. Like, it's just, there are a lot of changes that are going to make it even more enticing when those go into effect. And so I have heard that some people are kind of waiting for that to happen. And I've also heard that's going to be kind of probably around December, January. I don't know. Has anybody else heard that?
It's been that it's not gonna be exactly September until the rules get in place.
Right.
But
There's just so many
towards
things,
the end of the
yes.
year. Yeah. But I still say, reach out to the film commission, get your application in, start doing the stuff. Because if it works the same as it worked before, they set the money aside still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Be ready. Be ready.
So what advice? Okay, so things are a-brewing. I mean, I really feel it. I'm sure you guys do too. This summer got extremely busy. The phone's been off the hook with people talking about the next couple of years. From your point of view in your worlds, what should talent be thinking about? How can they start to, level themselves to really be ready to receive all the stuff that's going to come in and get on your radars?
I mean, for unscripted, real people, we are all, unfortunately, we're all trying to tap the same people because of those people that are really making noise on social media. I feel like that's kind of the first stop. So wanting to be noticed is building a following, cutting through the clutter, being buzzy, But what I look for in actually taking on a project to develop beyond just trying to cast for specific shows is what's the access? What's the behind the curtain? What is something that people, what's the secret life of? The stuff that really gets networks excited is something different, extraordinary. We always say, ordinary people doing something extraordinary or different or having some sort of access. So if it's just I want to be seen, social media, but if it's something that is this needs its own show, it needs to warrant that.
So, I found a lot in nonfiction casting. A lot of the people that step forward want to get their business involved in television shows, and a lot of realtors. And
I'm on a flipping show right now for A&E.
What advice would you give to people oh, I have this company or I have this thing happening. I think it would be a good reality show. Most of the time, it's not. What's the stuff that stands out? Because sometimes, that can really turn your business into a money-making machine if you do get on a reality show.
Yeah, it gives you a huge platform. And so we're seeing a lot of people applying for the show that I'm on, but it's those little gems of, yes, the world gets us excited. The people keeps us there. Who are the people telling the stories? That whole staff better be fascinating characters of some sort. So, unfortunately, there is a secret sauce because you're trying to run a business and you want good people that are going to do well for your business. But if they don't have the voice that can carry a show, it's hard. The bar is higher. The time is shorter to find them. The budgets are lower. I think we're all experiencing that. So it's trying to find the diamond in the rough very quickly. It's the biggest challenge anyway.
Karmen,
Yes.
what makes somebody pop to you? When you're kind
That's
of
such
going
a,
through the cast? Yeah, it's a hard question, but
It is
tell
very
me some
hard.
of the people that in your memory, as you're flipping through, specific people that come to mind that you might have been oh, they did this and that was really great. It was really outside of the box.
The biggest thing for me is the actors that are consistent and professional. After the pandemic and switching to virtual, I think it is easier for some people to take things less seriously and submitting tapes in their cars and this and and I get the turnaround's fast and that's fine, but it's we have to preserve a a certain standard, because we are getting people coming from LA and New York, and they are full on back in studio. Like, so if we're presenting this virtual option, it has to be up to a certain standard. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me, is people who take it seriously across the board. People I know I can count on to submit on time, read the script, do the right thing, not upload a commercial for something that I'm not doing. That.
What's the worst thing that you've seen somebody do? Come on, just one. There's so many. Let me flip through.
A lot, and it's, again, pandemic, I understand. A lot of people showing up after a few cocktails. Yeah, not a lot, just a handful of times. And I've had to have some conversations with certain people.
Okay,
No
guys.
one here that I know of.
Don't show up drunk to audition.
That's, yeah.
Got
I
it.
know who you are.
Sally, what really sticks out in your mind of people that, like, I think of the Robin Williams story of how he got his first agent by doing a monologue on his head.
Right. So I can tell a recent story. So we do the casting for a television series that shoots in the Dallas area called The Chosen, and this was season 6. Sorry, there's been a lot. And one thing that really stood out to me this season was there was a gentleman that was up for a guest star role, like a true guest star role. So he was truly competing against New York, LA, like you were saying, like you got to bring out the professional, everything, And he actually created a demo reel for his character. It was his own work, but he cherry-picked the roles that he had played previously that he felt like showcased him, that would show him off that, hey, this is the type of character I can do. And by the way, here is me doing it. And he didn't ask anyone. He just uploaded it right along with his audition, and it got him the role.
So he basically wrote the backstory of his character as in the video that he submitted.
Yeah, he was amazing. Don't get me wrong. The audition was amazing, but then he just freaking sealed the deal with that demo reel, and that was the first time I'd ever witnessed that. So I thought that was super creative and cool that he did that.
That actually surprises me that was the first time you had witnessed that, because, I mean, just as a producer, I have tons. I work with casting directors all the time, and they're submitting me their people, and it's like when I'm looking for something specific, I want to see something in that world of that, and then if I see extra layers of that world, I'm like, bam! Like I wasn't even thinking about that extra layer.
Right, and the time and attention that he must have taken to create that specifically for our show, it was rewarded.
What's the one that you're working on right now?
I'm working on a very heartfelt show about people on their journey to adopting a dog, and a celebrity will be hosting it every episode. I'm doing a home flipping show for A&E. I do a lot for like history, discovery, axemen, ice road truckers. I do a lot of that kind of salt of the earth stuff comes my way. But then I do salacious stuff too. I like to find like interesting subcultures of people and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I just finished a show for Roku, and it's another renovation. I think the renovation stuff is still very popular, and you'll see a lot more coming down the pipeline. But it was about ranches, and I'm like, amazing. I'm here in Austin, so my goal was like, I'm going to find a ranch, and then it was also host casting and experts and the face of the show and the people that are going to help, and I really just dove in. There's so much here.
So back to you, Karmen.
Yes.
What advice would some of us producers and directors, we can kind of be jerks sometimes. We're like, I want all these things right away, and I have no budget. What advice do you give to us? Like, put us in check.
We are at rock bottom. It cannot get any worse than it is now.
Agreed.
Yeah, like you can't do any worse. And the rates for talent and what is expected in terms of usage, and especially like we do real people casting as well, and a lot of those people end up they don't know the world of usage, and people will come in and think they can kind of take advantage of someone who doesn't know any better, and that sucks. But yeah, a lot of really terrible budgets coming through, especially this year. And yeah, crazy turnarounds, like if you want something great, you got to give us a little bit of time and a little bit of money to find it.
You know what? You are so right. And I'm going to take your side on this one. Now let me paint a picture of what happens to us on the producing side. The client calls us and they say, we want you to bid this project, and everybody bids the project, and whoever comes in lowest and with the highest street cred wins. And then you have to live up to this budget, and then hopefully you wrote in your contract that they're going to give you more money if they ask for extra things. If you didn't, it's coming out of your own producer pocket. Oops, sorry, you should learn your lesson. But anyways, they give us these peas budgets, and they're like, yeah, we've only got $1,000 for 10 talent. And you're like, what? Okay, I need to pay my mortgage or tell you to go away. So a lot of producers are also very unhappy right now with the situation. It's coming from even above them with the networks, with the brands, and everybody's just been
and it's
closing their wallet.
It's not Austin, it's not Texas specific, it is everywhere. That is why people are coming from Los Angeles to work as local, because it's everywhere.
And it's unfortunate because I think it really squeezes out the independents and the smaller production company, the smaller producers that maybe they have great ideas, because they'll take it to a network and they're like, great, do the development for free. Or we'll give you like a nugget, but you can't actually develop and create even a sizzle or pilot with that. So unless you have a backing, a production company that has funds from other projects, so that's why you see all the merging happen. There's less places to sell. There's less people actually being able to create. It's becoming very sad. I think the creativity goes down when that happens, because it's just less of all of it.
Yeah. And I have to say, okay, sometimes you got to just smell the room too. And, from a talent or producer side, you can sometimes push back and find some hidden money. But sometimes it's like this sort of standoff and see who's going to die first. And, I've died a couple times on pushing back too hard for the money. And then it's like, okay, goodbye project. So it's sort of a game. Are you feeling the same burn, Sally? On film and commercial?
Oh, yeah. I bid myself right out of jobs all the time. But you can kind of tell the ones that are kind of riding that line, You're like, you're really close here on everything. Rates for everyone, the amount of time. So sometimes I'm like, that may have been for the best that I lost that job. But on a positive note,
I like to start with the bad news first. We're like, let's just take it real far down.
I personally feel like Austin does a really good job of trying to set an industry standard.
Agreed.
And that we all really try hard to get fair rates for talent. We've really drawn a line in the sand and said there are several things we absolutely just will not do, and it's to protect the talent. So,
thank you. And I think if more people draw the line across the board, it is helpful. When I lived in LA, there were so many people, it's like next in line, and the rates were pretty bad too. I have to say, the rates were better like 15 years ago than they are now. Like, they keep getting worse. However, there was more to choose from. The thing I have really liked about Texas is it's a small town, and when groups of casting directors or groups of sound guys or groups of camera guys, they all get together and they say, hold the line, guys. Like, let's not go below a certain thing. And, producers, we need to do this too. Hold the line, producers, because producers are also getting offered horrible things. So it becomes very helpful if we start to have standards.
Well, and the agents are really good about helping us do that as well. Because sometimes if we get a little, we're like, okay, maybe we'll do that job, and then the agents are like, no, you're not going to do it, not with our talent. So, I mean, I think the agents as well help draw the line and protect the talent.
We've got 2 minutes to open up for questions.
Hello, everybody. My name's Anjali. I'm a filmmaker and an actor, and I wanted to ask a question about, we were talking about social media earlier, and it's hard because post-grad, there's a rat race all of a sudden. All of the actors that are in my circle as friends are suddenly posting content, and there's a huge influx of that. And so I wanted to ask about how much the follower count really matters, and what brand is attractive to casting agencies or directors, yeah, if there's anything that would be an immediate red flag to you in an actor's profile.
I mean, we love social media.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to put down people's socials just to submit half the time, so they want to see footprints. But I don't know for you guys.
Yeah, it's a bit. They'll ask to see socials. They'll usually to make sure that no one is a risk to their brand. So, I mean, yeah, I think as an actor, just being mindful of what you post. But I mean, also, fuck it, it's your life. So, I don't know.
But if you want to be on TV, the networks will not touch people that have socials that are
people do
questionable.
background checks without even knowing it, look like crazy deep dives. So just if you keep that in
delete
mind.
it now.
Hello, my name is Eric. I'm a music producer and musician. My wife and I have moved here from LA about 2.5 years ago. So what I wanted to ask you all was, how are you all dealing with the usage or non-usage of AI? Because it's kind of unavoidable. So what's your take on that?
In which way? Like for what?
Any way are you using it as a tool of empowerment, or there's some people who are like old school with no, we don't want to use AI, especially in the musician world. We don't want to hear the machines create music.
I mean, it is my coworker. I will say for a lot of things, and I don't know about for you guys, like it is very helpful in just day to day. But I will say there is an AI editing system that I've tried, and it's a lot of it so nuanced, like especially in my world. How do you say it? How was that reaction? Did we stop and look at each other? So I don't think it's quite there yet for creative, for me anyway. But I think for everything else, it's been helping the workflow in that sense.
Yeah, I agree. I more use it as like an organizational tool for me. Or, if I have something I need to look up and it would take me normally hours and hours and hours to do that research, I can do it in 2 seconds. But creatively, there isn't really a way for me to use it as of yet. I'm not against it per se, as long as it is like a tool that, helps. But I just haven't run into it a whole lot yet.
I don't use it.
I wanted to say one thing about the social media stuff. I can't tell you how many times we have actually bounced somebody from a project on background checks of what people wrote on their social media. It is a thing. And I think it's a thing for just business in general. I mean, people look at it when they're going through the interview process. So you should just be very cognizant of what you post.
This might be interesting, especially to the musicians over here. So I was working on an independent film once that had a fairly, it was an okay-sized role. It was very much a cameo. And we were going to cast it locally, and because it was an indie, the money people said, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we found a female country music star, up and coming, that could come in and act, that can act as well, and they could come in and do this, especially if they have a huge social media following that they would agree then to turn around and share our release dates and stuff with. And so that was an instance actually where I did gather all the data of not only along with the audition, but also here's all of their social media platforms and how many followers they have. And they really did. I I believe they picked the best actor, but they also happened to pick the one with the most social media followers. So I don't know.
Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. We're going to go into the agents now. The, the gatekeepers for talent and creators. In Austin, we have Jason Wasner, the CEO of Acclaim Talent. On Zoom, we have Cindi Davis-Andress.
Jorge Elizondo. I own the acting group Tag Talent. I've been in the industry for 20 years, almost 20 years. And we work in film, TV, commercial, Texas Airbeam Hub. We work other regions like Los Angeles, a little bit in the Southeast, but I keep it mostly Texas.
Jason.
I'm Jason. I own Acclaim Talent Agency. I've been doing this since I was a teen, I've been in the industry since I was a teenager, so over 30 years. We represent all types of talent.
Cindi.
Hi, my name is Cindi, and I am with Pastorini-Bosby Talent Agency. We are SAG-AFTRA franchised, and we've been in business since 1990. We are super excited for the days ahead, and it is truly an honor to be in the Texas market at this time.
Actors, voice actors, models, but primarily we focus on the on-camera side.
So Cindi, this is going to be really awkward, but we can't see you, so I'm going to just talk to you through the camera. What are you seeing brewing in Houston right now? You're Houston-based.
You know, Houston has been a very interesting market for quite a while. We don't have a lot of ad agencies and production companies left in Houston. Post 9/11, really, it just kind of went down from there. And so fortunately, because we have been in business since 1990 and we have kind of a wide scope of relationships, just the fact that Houston itself is not incredibly busy has not hurt our talent or hurt the business. So, you know, we're seeing a lot. Obviously, we work a lot in Austin. We do quite a bit in Dallas. And then for film and television, we work the region as a whole. So we work New Mexico, Oklahoma, Louisiana, the Carolinas, Georgia.
Jason, have you seen a change, you know, since the announcement of the $1.5 billion tax incentive?
So initially I saw a lot of projects being pulled back. So they were pulled back as waiting for the incentive money. What we're seeing now is trickling in more and more business. Obviously, we're only a couple days in, but it looks very promising. And in this industry, we've had pretty much constantly for the last 40 years. In Texas, you'd get an incentive package, it would last a couple of years, and then it would disappear. And all the progress that you'd built up over those couple of years be flushed down the toilet, and it's all gone. So the idea of actually having 10 years potentially of continual growth and activity is mind-boggling right now.
How about you, Jorge? What are you seeing?
Well, it's coming. It's on its way. It's you do see what Jason said. A lot of productions being pushed a little bit until maybe end of September, October, and we're starting to see. I'm sure you agree that we see a lot of new or other region casting directors come into the region to find out what's going on. Or you see just a difference in the market. It's changing. It's changing from. Yeah, you have Los Angeles casting teams come in, some from Atlanta, and unlike it used to be 10 years ago or more, where it was really regionalized, you would go in person, you might do a tape for a project that was in New Orleans or what have you. That now everyone's everywhere. So and there's also I've seen some projects that I had, especially in the horror world, that were originally filming in like Little Rock or the Tennessee project or the Carolinas that are coming this way to Dallas or Houston or even Austin. So it's an interesting movement. You do see a lot of new faces, a lot of new actors reaching out. And it's exciting when you get new actors that are actually living in Texas. So, I think I'm excited about it, but it's one of those because we've been doing this for so long. It's like we'll see it when we actually believe it. Yeah, I mean, but I'm still positive about it. I mean, there's so much going on. And you see it, and getting clients ready and getting people, prepared to what they need to do from demo reels or classes or headshots or anything and all the little things.
So Jorge, you represent actors in Austin and LA.
I do.
Who's winning right now? Like, who's busier?
Well, it's depends on the actor, right? I mean, but yeah, it depends.
In general.
Well, but I would have to say Texas because I only have about 24 local in LA, and Texas, from advertisement to commercial to indie film and TV, even it's at a steady rate. It's funny to see more TV from my perspective, and small co-star roles, what have you, to guest stars that are actually reading them here instead of bringing them from other spots. So I guess in that sense, Texas is winning.
Yeah, well, let me tell you why. After living in LA for a long time, they make it very expensive to film there if you're not a major studio. And Texas is very appealing to film. People are, sorry, Atlanta, they're tired of going to Atlanta. I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm apologizing. But, they like Austin. Austin's fun. We've got good barbecue. We've got a diversity of locations. We've got very talented people. So I'm not surprised to hear that, you're seeing things that are busy. Jason, what does it take to get on your radar? I know you do a lot of self-taping, the actors.
What I ask for actors to do is to email us a copy of their headshot resume and demo reels if you have it. Then we take tapes, typically from folks that just don't have like off the charts resumes, so that we can see what they can do, evaluate their ability to interpret scripts, what their technique is, etc. And figure out how we can help them today and maybe how we can help them in the future. I may not be the best fit for every actor, but I'm here to try to help actors regardless of whether they're with me or not. So.
Cindi, is it preferred that an actor be in Houston?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think that there are so many ways now to have, strong relationships that it does not mean that you have to be 5 minutes away from your agent's office. We love the ones that will pop into the office and say hello because we like having that connection and to know, what do you look like currently? When you're on your way to the theater for rehearsal, all of those things are so important to representing talent fully. But we're fine and have the same quality of relationship no matter where the talent is.
So you prefer a pop-in?
We kind of like, not for an initial submission. I don't think that that's the best way to do it. We have a place on our website you can do that. It could get kind of strange there, but if you are signed with us, absolutely. Come say hi.
I feel like people are scared to do the pop-in these days, or even pick up the phone. Come on, too many texts and emails. Pick up the phone. Do a pop-in. Cindi told you. How do you guys feel about pop-ins?
It varies. I mean, I might even be there if you pop in. So, like that's on you if you travel from Dallas, right? But I think it's interesting to have folks that like we're talking about getting prepared for the incentives program and production coming to come in, to come in your office and talk about what's going on. Let us know what you're in class. Let us know what you're doing. Give us ways to help pitch you. Give us ways to help submit you. Let us know what's down your pipeline, so to speak, right? And I do think it's important and more viable than ever to see folks every quarterly, just to shoot the shit, basically, but talk shop and stuff like that, and that's the way it should be, because otherwise, I will say sometimes if we travel, like we were in Los Angeles for a little bit last month, because you've got to meet folks sometimes. I mean, I rep talent that I haven't met. Of course, I think we all do, but it's mannerism, especially now that it's all online. I gotta see how you move. I gotta see that helps me support and pitch you in the correct way, instead of just like, all right, well, they want a blonde woman, let's give them all 5 blonde women. You know what I mean? So that's not how it works. So I think the individual 2-on-1 or what have you really is helpful to both of us.
What? Human interaction is important?
Yeah, imagine.
Oh my!
Well,
Are you guys hearing this? Human interaction is important. It's such. I don't know if you can tell, but it's one of my pet peeves when somebody just sends me 10 emails. I'm like, pick up the phone. Come stop by my office.
It depends on the situation. Right?
Yeah, it does depend. It does depend. You're absolutely right. How do you feel about in person or just people checking in with you?
In-person check-ins, no. Please don't do that.
No pop-ins. No pop-ins for Jason.
For email check-ins, I'm fine with that. I mean, just don't overdo it. But I've got a pretty good command of information. So if you update me on what you've been working on over the past month or 2 months or whatever, that's great information. It helps me to market you. So, yeah.
And I think people forget, this is a business. And you need to give your agent tools to leverage, to brag about. This actor just booked, an indie horror film. I feel like sometimes people are afraid to annoy somebody, but really that's helpful information.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's an email about what you've been doing, about what, because we do hustle for our talent, all of us, right? That's our bread and butter. That's what we do for a living. But if you're hustling, you're going to classes, and you're doing independent films, and you're doing thesis projects or what have you, to get footage, to build the momentum you need, we should know that. Because we don't know that, I mean, then you don't know what we're doing, then we just kind of both rock around in circles.
Now, do you attend theater plays for your actors when they invite you? Do you attend?
I do regularly. I was actually at one Sunday. I come out for theater stuff. I come out for screenings. The actors are putting in way more work, and the filmmakers are putting in way more work than we have to, in that sense. So if I can come out and support, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not always going to come out and necessarily be a social butterfly, because it may not be that day, but I will come out and I will support your projects, even if you're not with me.
Any TV series or big films that you're seeing coming down the pipeline that you're allowed to share, that you've been getting called for talent?
Probably the big ones are the Duttons and Madison. Both are new spin-off series from Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, and going back to going to plays really quick, there is something that I think artists don't realize, that whatever module of art you're doing, invite us, because there's going back to the dancers in the intro. I work with Blip Switch. It's a lot of dancers. So if you go and see a client who is doing a performance in that way or some whatever way, it does hopefully help me to know how to diversify them and when I'm pitching them. So, but yeah, I think we all go to plays. Sometimes we don't want to, but we all do. So it just varies on where you're at and what you're doing. But when we go into what's coming in the pipeline, Taylor Sheridan. We're going to be a commercial heavy place, and I'm grateful for that. And some films we do have watches here in different projects. We work in the Red Building, Austin Studios, so I can't help but go and bother casting teams or producers or Martin and find out, well, what is coming down the pipeline? What do we have? Because that's super important, because that's probably one of the biggest questions that we get.
What advice do you have for producers and directors reaching out to you? And how do you determine the talent that you're going to pull for a project? Okay, so say I'm looking for the lead in a musical that's going to be similar to Grease. How do you decide in your talent pool who you're going to send to me?
Well, that's just a broad question, right? You it depends on the role. It depends on the style of, if it's Grease, who is known their background for musicals, who's training in what type of tonality of voice, and so it just, and when you don't have something that's so niche like a musical, that's where I can pull out from different regions of people I work with. That's why we work with a little bit of New York, because some people are trained in that world. So, but if it's like a rural type project where it's the cowboys and all that, I'm really probably I'm going to submit local or folks that I know that can have like that rural kind of life or ranch life. It's the same thing. It's like I don't know about other folks, but you should never just throw everything just to see what sticks in narrative. You know what I mean? So because I mean, you gotta know your talent. You gotta know who can actually be Sandy or whatever. So it just varies.
All right, so I'm casting for the next Sandra D for Grease. Are you just pulling out all the blondes that look like Sandra D?
No,
or
absolutely not. Yeah. No, I mean, with that, you're talking about a project that's built around special skills, or at least in our world, special skills. So you need somebody who's capable of dancing. You need somebody who's capable of singing. You need somebody who fits the physical description of the character, and so on. So it's always there's more intricacies to just than just sending whoever's available or whoever might fit.
And what I'm leading to with these questions, and I'll let Cindi bring it home here, is that I feel like casting has or talent pools have changed a lot over the years. We've become wiser. It's not just the Baywatch babes being pulled out of the talent pools. Cindi, are you seeing more opportunity for people that have just real, true talent and they're not just like a Baywatch person?
Thank God we are. The amount of diversity that we're seeing, the actual attempts to really practice inclusion are amazing now compared to, I came to the agency in '99. And at that time, if you were a talent that was my size and my skin color, there were only 2 or 3 things that you could be thought of to play. And I'm so glad that we're no longer in an environment where those are issues, and it has certainly opened up the types of submissions that we receive, because we know that on the other end of that submission, there are actually projects that are earnestly able to consider them for a role.
Being a former journalist, the power of the media and visuals is so shaping of what a culture believes to be true. And I've heard so many times from talent, well, I'll get a talent agent when I lose weight or when I get my nose done. What do you have to say to these people?
Well, everyone's an individual, so you're not that same Olivia and John look, or whatever you're going to Grease with. So there's going to Cindi, there's so much grateful for diversity in a sense that we do see different looks and different styles. And I'd done it before, even where if it was from Dusk Till Dawn years ago, there was a cop role and I submitted a woman. Why can't a woman be an angry cop? And it worked. So you just never know.
If you own yourself, and like a Jill Scott, for example, Jill Scott, however large or small she's going to get, she's always going to be attractive. It's the confidence. It's the self-knowing. So some of what diversity is about in our world is finding that person who is firmly convinced that they belong and putting them in front of people. So those people go, yeah, she obviously belongs there. And then they accept it. And then you move on. I can't tell you how many calls I've gotten from clients and their children even talking about finally seeing some kind of representation of themselves in TV and film, and how important that is. Because until that happens for a lot of people, they never see themselves as a potential president. They see themselves through the eyes of somebody who probably hated them at one point in time. And that's a rough place to be.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Good.
I know we're running out of time, but I think I would not be doing us a service if we didn't bring it back to contracts. And what are the things that are just absolutely not, or that you're pushing back on when you get these talent contracts? And are you seeing any trends? Or people sliding things in and all perpetuity and the AI and the future uses? And, what do you want this room to know about what you're seeing and what to push back on?
with my clients now, and pretty much I send out an email and I'm like, okay, this project, it's AI. If I take part in it at all, this project is AI. So if you don't want to, if you're not interested in that, stop reading now, because you don't want to know how much money it's going to pay, because that's going to make you upset. So just stop. I will not have a problem with you not doing this job. So the AI stuff is a big thing. Most of the time, the producers are pretty straight with us. Generally, when the problems come up is when they don't know the aspects that they're dealing with. Like they don't know what that usage, what the drawbacks of that usage might be for the talent. They're not thinking about it from that perspective. So I think that's where the AI thing is the biggest thing. I would say reality show contracts frighten the hell out of me. And anything longer than 10 pages, run for the hills.
Agreed.
How about you, Cindi?
On non-union contracts, something that I see more and more that troubles me is these pre-negotiated renewals where they want, hey, on the second year, we want to do this for 10% more. I mean, there's just something about being able to predict in 2 years where your career is going to take you and what that value will be at that time. So I think as agents, we just have to be a little cautious there about the guidance that we give our talent about how far in advance they want to determine value.
We did a contract role for Days of Our Lives, and that contract stated that this gentleman could not do anything for a year, but there's downtime, so we had to go back and change that. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to look at the future, like everyone's saying about rebuys and what have you for commercial. Also, it varies on the project, right, or the actor. Like if an actor getting started and they're trying to get footage for a commercial reel or anything at all, yeah, some of the buys you're a little more liberal with. Like if it's a insurance for 2 years for like that's a national, like that's awful. But for 2,000, but you gotta see who you're working with and who would want to play and who doesn't want to play. And that's, yeah, when it comes to AI and voiceover, that's where it gets tricky. I'm sure you agree with that. It's like they want to record you, but they want to use it for. I don't think so. Or if they do, how long? Or if they do, what can we do? Or this is only for this certain promotion. You can't use that for anything else. So that's when you make sure you get your signatures.
Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. We just made them the talent, which is kind of fun, right? Thank you.